Good morning, DLynn Proctor coming to you live from historic downtown St. Helena. We're back at it again, and we're very excited. We've got a really, really special guest today, Coach Fleck, University of Minnesota Golden Gophers. Really stoked to be here with Coach. He's been fortunate to give us this fortunate time to take out of his incredibly busy schedule. There's a lot going on, and we're really happy to have him. Now, the beautiful thing about Fantesca Estate and Winery that I always touch on when we do these live broadcasts is our history is incredible. Our estate dating back to 1860, the wonderful wines of the Fantesca collection, including our Chardonnay, our King Richard's Reserve Pinot Noir, both of those hailing from the Russian River Valley, as well as our All Great Things. Our current vintage 2016 is showing absolutely incredible, the All Great Things Justice, an incredible wine that hails from the eastern ranges of Napa Valley, of course. And lastly, our 53-acre estate perched on Spring Mountain, of which we have 10 acres of planted Cabernet Sauvignon. We only produce about 500 cases of our estate Cabernet, and we're really just excited to offer these wines and talk about these wines and bring in all of these phenomenal guests. So without further ado, I'd like to bring in DLynn Hoff, proprietor of Fantesca Estate and Winery, and of course, Big Ten Coach of the Year, Coach Fleck. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning. DLynn, good to see you. DLynn, nice to see you again.
Great seeing you. Hey, DLynn, I think you might be muted. We'd love to hear from you.
He's ignoring me already.
You know, it's I only had one button to hit, and I couldn't do it. Sorry about that.
You had one job.
One job. Coach, how are you?
I'm doing elite. Thank you. How are you doing, DLynn? How's Susan?
Elite as well. I love that answer. I love that answer. PJ and I actually got to meet shortly after he became the head coach at University of Minnesota, and we had a great visit out here. And one of the things that I told him about was kind of the process of growing a new vineyard, that once you plant the grapes that first year, you can't even use the fruit. You kind of have to just drop it on the ground. Second year, same thing. Third year, same thing. Fourth year, you finally can get a crop from that vineyard. So we use that metaphor. And PJ, you're ahead of schedule on that metaphor.
Yeah, we're a year early. I'm not sure what that's called in wine lingo, but hopefully that sets up for an amazing vintage in the fourth year. So we're looking forward to it.
That's awesome. DLynn, I know you've got some questions you wanted to ask and some things you wanted to kind of bring up. So let me let you get back to that.
Yeah, no, I love the catching up here, man. That's the beauty about doing these lives, man. It's real time, it's real chats, it's real conversations. And again, we're just so happy to have Coach on today. Now, look, Coach, I know that you and DLynn have a wonderful relationship, and I've been fortunate to be around you a handful of times, man, doing things, obviously, with the University of Minnesota and the Masonic Children's Foundation, all of these great events that I've been a part of with you. But what I really want to know is, like, what have you been doing with your time away, you know, from the field and kind of from the team? But I know you're back with some of the players and some of the team as of the last few weeks, but you know, what are you doing right now, especially after such an accomplished season last year?
Yeah, first of all, DLynn and DLynn, thanks for having us. I want to make sure I say that to the both of you. This is really an honor for us. DLynn and Susan have been unbelievable supporters of our football program. As a head coach, you get to go a lot of different places and visit a lot of people. But you didn't have to twist my arm very hard to go out and visit DLynn and Susan Hoff, and especially Fantesca Winery and what they've been able to do as a family, the philanthropy they have, the amount of serving and giving all of Fantesca does. They're really amazing humanitarians, and just very honored to know them, very excited to be part of the Fantesca family, and just want to thank everybody for having us first and foremost. So yeah, I mean, it's amazing. It just depends how much you know about football. The questions I get asked, I'm in the grocery store, like, Coach, so what are you doing now? You just not working and you got another job? Did you pick up some things on the side? We are working harder during the pandemic than I think before we even had the pandemic. There's so much to do. All right. One, you're planning every single day to make sure that your players are safe. Their nutrition plans are safe. Their strength and conditioning programs, they're keeping up with all of that. You're looking forward to the future. You're on the phone with the Big Ten, athletic directors, head coaches, coming up with the safest plan possible for our student athletes as we venture into the fall, which is really unprecedented times. So we've been doing that. And then you're running your own football program. We've been game planning every single other opponent. We have the greatest recruiting class in the history of our school during this pandemic. We've got around 17 commitments already. Most of them, it's been very unique, have not visited campus. So we consider ourselves a very proactive program, not a reactive program. It's kind of like in the wine industry, always preparing for the flood or something that could really damage the crops or a fire, knowing that it might not happen. But if it ever does, you're proactive with it, not just reactive. Because when people are reactive, they lose a lot. But if they're proactive, they're ready for anything. It's not if it comes, it's when it comes. We consider ourselves a proactive program. We did not predict COVID-19. However, we were ready for any type of thing that would take away time for us to be away from the office. And we just implemented that plan. And that plan has worked to exactly the way we wanted it to work over the last 4 months, not being in the office. We've accumulated the greatest recruiting class in the history of the school. Not only that, right now it's a top 20 class. We plan to add to it even more. So that's what we've been doing. And then our coaches being around their families, making sure they're safe. But we've been working really hard. So it's a small question, short question with a very long answer. But that's what we've been doing. And drinking a lot of wine. So.
Coach, on that topic, because I heard you say something about this, and I kind of want to make sure the people that follow us get to hear some of what your take on this was. And that was obviously the turmoil. All of a sudden, it went from literally we're all out having dinner on March 13th to we're shut down on March 15th. And so, to get your team to adapt, your players to adapt, your coaches to adapt, your parents of your players to adapt, how did you communicate that, and how did you lead through that? Like, what was, what allowed you to, really get people to get in the right mindset?
Well, first and foremost, we have a saying in our program: over communicate, under assume. So it's all about communication. It's all about connecting. It's all about not assuming people know what is going on or what and how they should be feeling. So immediately when it happened, we were actually on a little vacation for spring break with our children. And the day that happened, we came back and immediately we're on Zooms from that point forward. But we never missed a team meeting. We had team meetings. We had our position meetings. We had health and safety checks. We had everything you could possibly do with our guest speakers, just like we're running our program. All we did was plug that in and made sure we just did it virtually. So Matt Childers, our video coordinator, I think is one of the best in the business. Really, the challenges fell on him because here it was this world that we were in person, so immediately everything's done with technology. And the faster you caught up with technology and the faster you were able to apply technology, the farther you could get ahead, because every minute mattered, every second mattered. And at one point, we're a top 6 recruiting class in the country because we were maybe 5, 6, 7 weeks ahead of people. And we gained a huge advantage because we were proactive with it. But very similar to what businesses are doing. But I think we just plugged it right in and never missed a day. It wasn't like we needed to investigate what we should do now. How do we transition to this technological virtual world? We didn't do that. We already had the plan in place. Matt Childers, our video coordinator, deserves a lot of credit for that, and our entire staff of being able just to pick up where we left off and continue to move forward. And also being very honest. With our players. We don't know when we're coming back. We don't know if we're coming back. This is a time that we talk to our players about becoming a player-led team. You're not going to have your dad or the head coach looking over you and making sure you do the workouts. This was a time for us to become the most mature football team we could be. And the maturity we define as when doing what you have to do becomes doing what you want to do. And when you're on your own and kids are back home, there's really nobody watching them to do it. But They had to do the workouts or they had to be able to stay in shape. It's just, were they doing it? And I trust our football team. They knew that I trusted them, and we were able to hopefully be ahead of the game.
I think I heard you on a program talking, and I think the quote was something to the effect of, these are unusual circumstances, but we don't allow our circumstances to dictate our effort. And so I thought that was a great quote that I actually used with our own team. we had to kind of adapt and know that people are, in the pandemic, they were doing what we were doing. We hunkered down. We had family around the table. We had a lot of great family dinners, and we drank a lot of wine at those family dinners. So our whole mission was to reach out to our allocation members and people that we're connected with, make sure they were safe, and make sure that they had the wine they needed to get through this thing. So, compliments to you for making that adaptation so quickly.
No, well, I appreciate that. It's we don't let our circumstances dictate our behaviors, and like you said, I mean, that's something that we keep very near and dear to us. I think so many people in the world they look at their lives as individuals, as in, why did that happen to me? Instead of, I know it was going to happen at some point, now I have to respond to that. We all think our life is going to be starting here when we're born, be a straight line, and go all the way until we die, and it's just going to be nice and continue to get better. We're going to make more money. We're going to get a better job. We're going to have children, and everybody's going to stay safe. That's unrealistic. That's not what life's about. The dream is the journey of life, right? The dream is the journey, but a lot of times that journey sucks. That journey is not easy. No one says the dream, right, that you get to one day, the journey to get to that sucks. It stinks. It's hard. It's full of the grit, the grind, and this is what we're all going through. So the people that are responding like, oh, woe is me and why me, don't have the right perspective of life, that it's not if it's going to happen, it's when it's going to happen. And it will. It happens to all of us. And whether that's the financial part, whether that's death, whether that's our careers, our jobs, the changing of things, change is inevitable. And this was just another thing that came our way. And if we allow it to dictate our behavior, it could take over our life. It could change the way we look at our life. It could take away your joy. We've got to look at it as somehow, some way that we have to, here it is, and we have to respond to it. We have to respond in a positive way and really be, the leader and the standard of what it looks like and how to respond to things like this. So it's just another thing that's thrown our way. It just happens to be what it is right now. And we're all about responding to things.
Shifting gears a little bit, one of the things that we love to talk to people about is kind of their own journey with discovering wine. My dad was a teacher. I know your mom was a teacher, and so there wasn't a lot of beautiful, expensive wine on the table as a kid growing up. And so that was something I kind of discovered as an adult. For you, what was your aha moment with wine? Where like, oh, okay, this is different than what Uncle Bob brings for Thanksgiving. This is a whole different thing than I thought it was.
Yeah, well, I was like you, DLynn. I mean, the finest alcohol we had in our house growing up was Miller Lite. I mean, that was like top shelf, in our house, right? With my dad drinking Miller Lite. Maybe my mom ventured out to a wine cooler. We used to call her One Beer Lenny. Her name's Linda. My mom was One Beer Lenny. So, but we had wine coolers maybe. I think my first experience with alcohol was with like Mad Dog. So for me, I wasn't raised around wine. And it wasn't until I got to become a player in San Francisco and then also become a head football coach where I kind of get into wine. I was lucky enough to play for the San Francisco 49ers, and wine country is 1 hour, and when that happens, that's an addiction. All of a sudden it becomes a hobby. I mean, that's something you turn the dial to love it real quick. And that's where I started to really get involved with wine. But it was the people that I got to hang out with. Even in the NFL, I didn't make much money. I was on the practice squad, and then I was on IR. But I got myself around people who made a lot of money. And it's kind of like a boat. The best boat is a friend's boat. The best wine is friend's wine because you get to drink all of their expensive wine and you don't have to replace it. So I think I did that all the way through until I became a head football coach. And then I said, well, I'm going to be having a lot of people over at my house being the head coach, and I'm now going to be the one entertaining, not the one being entertained. And so I better start upping my game. And I think that's where Heather and I have really come to really understand and love not just wine for the taste, but we're process people. Heather and I love not the final result. We love the journey. We love the process. We love the building of things. We both do. And I think that's whatever it is. And wine is that. And that's why it's so special, because when you do share that 4-glass bottle right, of wine with 4 different people or however many. And that one bottle, it took all those years for that bottle to get to that table, and all the stories from the families making it, and all the workers at that winery, and then all the process of delivery, and all the hands that it's changed. It's an event, and it's an experience. And one thing I've learned over my course of my life is that life is about experience, moments, and memories. It's not about money. It's not about materialistic things. It's about sharing and experiencing. And that's what our life has become. So we've, over the last 3 to 4 years, we've really dove into wine at a very high level, and we both enjoy it very, very much.
You know, you talk about that process, and you talk about over the years and the different workers. That really resonates with me. I think if great wine were easy to make, Budweiser would make all of it, right? They have a giant factory and they just churn out the best wine in the country. It's not like that. It responds to attention to detail, and it responds to a team that has integrity at every step along the way. You can have the greatest vineyard in the world, you can have the greatest winemaker in the world, but if the team that's taking care of that wine day in, day out to get it from the field into the cave, into the bottle, if they don't have integrity in that moment when no one's looking over their shoulder to do the right thing, to be extra careful, wine is a very living thing. And so if you come to the property, you'll see that we keep everything really clean, but it's not sterilized in terms of like trying to kill every microbe in the cave. You need those microbes, the good microbes, to do their job and to keep the bad microbes out. And that's a recipe for constant diligence in cleaning, constant diligence in treating the wine the way that allows it to arrive at its destination in the bottle and ultimately on our guest's table intact and as the best wine it can be. And you have to have you can give every pretty speech you want, but if the guy who's working with you on a day-to-day basis isn't committed to making great wine, you got nothing.
Yeah, I mean, we call that culture trumps skill, right? I mean, the skill, anybody can have really good football players, but it's how that team is connected, the accountability and the sacrifice for one another, right? The ability to give up yourself for someone else, the ability to do everything the right way, to be the standard in everything that you do. And that's a prime example of what we accomplished this year with our football team. And, we have 5 4-star recruits on our entire football team, right? Out of 125 players, 5 of them are above a 3-star recruit, right? And Penn State had 51 4-stars. Auburn had 58 4-stars. And we beat both teams because our culture was stronger than that skill on that particular day. Our team was better. And, I'm not sure how many times we beat them if we play them out of 10 times. But that particular moment in those 3 hours, our culture trumped that skill, the talent of our people, the heart, the spirit, the unconquerable will, the selflessness to put yourself behind others. And that's why we've gotten to where we've gotten. And it's so good to hear that the process of wine is the exact same way. And I think that's why we appreciate it so much. And I've used it in a lot of my examples when I'm talking about rebuilding a program, thanks to you, when Heather and I were on your property.
Hey, Coach, we many view you as a masterful recruiter and marketer. I want you to speak a little bit, if you can, about your unparalleled excellence as a recruiter. You do it so incredibly well, Coach.
Yeah, it's amazing because I don't look at myself as a recruiter. I just look at myself as a talent developer, and it's all about fit. Recruiting is all about fit. Right. And we got tons of football players that are really good to play here, that are qualified to play here. There's hundreds, there's thousands all over the country that can come here. But it starts as, it starts as a funnel. And as you take all these players who are all good enough to play at Minnesota, and you start to shake the funnel, and it just continues to come down, right to the drip spot, that one that comes out, right, that person fits you academically, athletically, socially, and spiritually. Because it's not the ones that you don't get that beat you. It's the ones you get that are the wrong fit that beat you. Those are the ones that can bring in that one bad vine can ruin the entire the entire vintage for that year, right? And so for us, that is critical. And it's all about fit. I'm not for everybody. But I think the one thing, being a people person, which I would consider myself, is, you have this judge of character, and you can tell if somebody fits you pretty quickly. I'm not for everyone. I don't want to be for everyone. Okay, I don't want everyone to like me. I don't. It's not like I'm trying to get everybody to like me or saying, hey, don't like me. But I am who I am, and I want the right people to come into our program that fit it, that have their life way bigger than themselves, that they want to accomplish huge dreams. They live their life for someone else. They dedicate a life of serving and giving. They understand the importance of academics. They understand the importance of their spirituality. And oh yeah, by the way, they're a great football player. They're really hard to find. But that's why we feel, we won 11 games at Minnesota for the first time since 1904. I mean, that's 25 years prior to the Great Depression was the last time this school won 11 games. However, we also have a 3.56 GPA as a football team. And usually you have to sacrifice, and that's an average. So you have to sacrifice wins for academics or academics for wins. And we don't feel that. We feel that the guys we bring in, the young men we bring in, have to be elite and think elite in every area of their life and want elite things in every area of their life. Like all great things, well, we're all elite things. And not just, you don't call your wine some great things, but some of it's things. It's all elite things, all great things. And that's how we recruit. So we'll never compromise that. We'll never sacrifice that. And I think that that's what's given our program trust, maybe from our fans, maybe from our donors, our boosters, our alumni, our players, is they've seen us do that with time. They've seen us do it with consistency, and they've seen us do it with proof. And if you do that, you're going to gain trust. And that's why I think we've been able to recruit the way we have. And then the branding package with Row the Boat and what we've been able to do with our Block M. And, branding's all about making sure you take advantage of everything that comes your way, whether it's positive or negative, looked at through the media or looked at through people's eyes. There's always a branding and marketing advantage, no matter if you're here or here. If it's here, there's an opportunity. If it's here, there's the ability to change your best and make it just a little bit better, right? So it's all about finding a way within your environment to be able to make sure your brand grows and using whatever's around you to be able to implement your brand.
Hey, Coach, last season, your team won so many games in the last 5 minutes or preserved the lead in the last 5 minutes. And as a longtime Gopher fan, there's this kind of fear in the back of your head, like, oh God, here we go again. And what was interesting is the players seemed to rise to the occasion. They rose to the challenge. And how do you coach that? And how do you change that culturally from, a team that used to struggle to finish in the top half of the Big Ten to a team contending for a Big Ten title?
Well, first of all, it's so easy. Okay, but it's so hard because we're all football coaches. We make things way harder than it needs to be. You have to teach your team how to win. Okay, now you're sitting there going, wow, that was genius, right? But we have a thing called 78%. And you'll see it all over our building. And so many people walk in and say, Coach, you want your team to play 78%? Yeah, that's what I want. No, it's not what I want. It's like filling the bottle of wine, 78%. That's not what we do, 100%. But there's 3 statistics that are tied to winning. We did a 50-year NFL and collegiate study, okay, where how do you win football games? What are their common denominators? And I wanted to limit it to 3 because you give kids more than 3 things, right? Their mind blows. Give somebody 3 bottles of wine, their mind blows, right? You got to keep it under 3. I said bottles, not glasses, by the way. Yeah. I love wine, right? So, but my point is the turnover margin is one of them. There's a tackling and missed tackle battle, and then there's explosive plays. If you can win all 3 of those, you win the turnover margin, right? You win the explosive plays, meaning plays of 25 or more, and then you limit it on defense, right? And you do those things, and you win the missed tackle battle, means you tackle better in the magic number 6, where if you have 6 or less missed tackles on defense, you're going to win 78% of the time. But if you can win those 3 battles, you're going to win 8 out of 10 times. So that's all we focus on when it comes to the true fundamentals of winning a game. Our practice style is designated around those 78% statistics. Not only that, I'm a Jim Tressel disciple. It's called Tressel ball. Jim Tressel always got a lead at Ohio State, and you couldn't catch him because he knew how to finish the game. His team created an identity for themselves of, we're going to win the game. I don't care if it's by 50, and I don't care if it's by 1. We're going to find a way to go win the game and be the smarter team, not just playing the harder team. We are going to be a smarter football team. And I think that's where we've taken a huge step here. And it takes a while, because when you throw a statistic up like that, you better be right. Well, year 1 in Minnesota, when we went 5-7, when we won the 78% battle, we won 5 games. When we lost the 78% battle, we lost all 7, 100%. Time, consistency, proof. Prove it to your players that works, and then they buy into it. When we almost lost against Georgia Southern this year, it is 3rd and 30 on our own 5-yard line. We have no timeouts left. There's less than 2 minutes to go. The stadium is thinking how Dwayne Hoff just said, right? Here we go again. It's Minnesota. So we ended up winning the game, going 95 yards and scoring on the last second, winning and beating Georgia Southern, a team who we were supposed to beat by 3 touchdowns, which we didn't, but it's paved the way for our future. But I showed our players on Sunday, the next day, the clip of the 3rd and 30. And there's actually a clip right here where Matt Childers can maybe even zoom in on it. It's on my wall. That's how important it is. And this clip right here showed our players, that's all right, Matt, move it back. It showed our players that why they are here. Because I showed them that still photo, and then after that, I showed them the video of the people leaving the stadium on 3rd and 30. There's a guy in a gray shirt, probably been a Gopher fan for 35 years. His wife was ahead of him. They're walking up the stairs. He keeps turning around on 3rd and 30 to see what happened. But his wife's grabbing him by the neck saying, get your butt up here. It's the same old Gophers. Let's beat traffic. Let's get in our car and get out of here early. Well, he missed a great football game. And I'm sure that conversation in the car did not go so well. And I hope they're still married. But the point of that is I showed our players why they're here. The hardest part about changing programs is changing people's thoughts, perceptions, ideas. And that's why this job was so intriguing to me, because I love to do that. And I love our players to be able to do that. And that's why we won 11 games and got to where we are this year. And now we got to change our best, because nobody cares about 11 wins anymore.
Fantastic, Coach. Fantastic. Thanks for sharing that with us. I know you've got a little bit more. You got a little bit of an unusual schedule because you're working so long hours, and you're obviously your payday, your busy day is Saturday. So what is your rhythm as far as enjoying a bottle of wine with Heather? When do you get to do that? Oh man, well, it depends if we won or lost. I will say that I don't let the circumstance dictate my behavior unless it comes to wine. And I'm I'm a Catholic, right? So I like to have guilt and punish myself. So if we lose, I don't drink any good wine because I don't feel like I deserved it. Okay, so that is a tradition in our house. If we win, pull out the good stuff. But I will say this, I'll take you through the week. I'll take you after a game. After a game, we win. I'm drinking the estate cab, period, right? From Fantesca. That's what I'm drinking, right? And then we'll get to Thursday, because I don't drink until Thursday, because Thursday's the day off for the coaches. You hit noon, practice is over, game plan's done, and the coaches have the afternoon off. Heather and I have a tradition. We will go get massages. We'll go to lunch, come back, have some King Richard's Pinot Noir. And it's a perfect Thursday because I can't go too hard. Okay, but we can do King Richard's, the Pinot Noir, and I enjoy that on Thursdays. And then we go to an unbelievable dinner and Uber, by the way, and then Uber back. And then we get into game week. And usually there's a bottle of wine that the hotel usually gives us, whether home or away. But I kind of have a tradition. I usually don't drink it. I save it, and then we just kind of put it in the cellar and kind of add up some wine. So, but that's really in season. That's how we do it. Now, the number of bottles depends on how big of a win. I don't remember much from the Penn State afterwards because we drank a lot of wine that night. That was really good. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, one of the things I'm really missing this year is that we didn't get together for Wine Fest and Children's Hospital. You do so much for Masonic, and I know you and the players are over there all the time. So it has to be hard for you to not be able to have that same level of connection with those kids that are on the floor up there.
Yeah, it's really difficult, and selfishly, you almost look at it like it's difficult for you. And gosh, I wish I could be there. And then, when Heather does a lot with the patients there, and you guys know Brax and Megan, and but when you get on FaceTimes with them, imagine what they're going through, right? So they have to stay in their room.
Yeah.
They can't have any visitors, and they're allowed one parent. Gosh, we sit there and think, man, I'd love to be in there, love making a difference, but who's really hurting through this are the people that love and count on that social interaction. And I hope that we can get back to that as soon as we possibly can. We can help as much as we can from afar, which I know you and Susan have done, so many others in our community. And Heather, my wife, has been so involved with Masonic. But it's really the patients that are there and their families that we just really need to keep in our thoughts and prayers as they go through this, because we might complain about wearing a mask at dinner or walking down the street or being 6 feet apart. These kids, and these are kids, these kids are high energy. They want to love life. They want to appreciate their life. They want to experience it. And they got to sit in a 14 by 14 room and really not have any visitors. So I hope everybody really does everything they can to either FaceTime people that in the hospital, keep in touch, have that face-to-face interaction somehow, send things to the hospital the best you can, and just help out families. Even if families that are home that they have to split their family to at least take care of one in the hospital, just please do everything you can to keep them in your thoughts and prayers so they can, hopefully stay safe, but also we can get through this as fast and safely as possible so they can start having visitors again.
Awesome. DLynn?
Well, I just really want to ask Coach. Well, Coach, tomorrow is Thursday. What are you drinking tomorrow?
Oh, we have the kids. The kids. We have the kids at the lake house. So we have a lake house wine cellar, and then we have an Edina wine cellar. The one at the lake's not as good as the one in Edina. But tomorrow night, let's see, it'll be Thursday. I don't know. I don't know yet. It's probably going to be a cab because it's not season yet. I don't have game planning on Friday, so it's definitely going to be a cab. Maybe an all great things. Kind of right in that middle. It'll be one of those. It won't be a Pinot Noir, I know that, but it'll be a cab. But I don't know how high end of a cab it'll be. But it'll be right there. I'm going to probably say an all great things.
Love that. Love that. Yeah, all great things are simple, and many can be expressed in a single word, Coach. Freedom, justice, honor, duty, mercy, and hope.
It's amazing. And we need all those right now. Maybe if we put all those together, all this will go away.
Well, Coach, thank you so much for doing this with us. We really appreciate it. I just, you're inspiring a lot more people than just a football team. You're really, everybody that listens to you and hears your passion and your commitment to excellence is inspired. So thanks for that. We really enjoy getting to cheer for the team, and we're not only proud of them on the field, proud of them off the field. And I know that that's a big focus for you. So congratulations on an awesome season. Congratulations on really making an incredible impact on a group of young men's lives. And thank you for all you're doing to inspire those of us across the country who are rooting for the Gophers.
Well, thank you very much for having us. And Dwayne and Susan, you guys are just amazing friends. DLynn, always good to see you, man. And I can't wait till we get together again here very soon. So stay safe, everybody, and row the boat, Scotty Bob.
Thanks so much, Coach. Well, hey, guys, Dwayne and DLynn here. Thanks for joining us for another one of our great conversations with Dwayne and DLynn. We've been fortunate to have some incredible guests on dating back to mid-March, to the end of March. We've got another great lineup of guests coming, and we'll let you know. We'll post those via our Facebook page, of course, Fantesca. We'll post those via our Instagram, our feeds, and our stories, etc. But we've got some beautiful folks coming up, and thanks for joining us. Anything you need from us, please reach us at info@fantesca.com. 4 amazing wines in the Fantesca collection, 2 of our Burgundies, which you hear me always say hail from the Russian River Valley, our Eastern range, if you will, Napa Valley Cabernet Sauvignon blend, a little bit of Petit Verdot, a little bit of Cabernet Franc, is called All Great Things. All great things are simple. Many can be expressed in a single word. And last but certainly not least, our estate Cabernet, less than 500 cases made. Give us a shout. Thanks so much for joining. And DeWayne, any closing words from you?
No, DLynn, wonderful job. What a treat to get to spend a few minutes with PJ and hear a little bit more about his journey. I just find him to be incredibly inspiring.
He is. He is. Every single time I've been around him, there's always some nugget that you get from him, that you pull from him, and just watching him do what he does.
All right. Be safe, be kind, drink well.
Be safe, be kind, drink well.